Packaging with impact. Create a standout brand and captivating product presentation. Hello, everyone. Tessa with the IdeaPros marketing team. And today I have a special guest for you. And it's all about, you probably guessed, packaging. But packaging does not only have to do with a physical product. I want to say that it's not just physical products, but I have an expert here with me, Matt Chapman with EdgingOut, and he is a packaging expert. So we are going to dive into actual physical product packaging. So before all my app people start grumbling, we are going to talk a little bit about the apps and the presentations there too. So don't feel like you can leave. You're not leaving yet. But we have Bill, who in the chat. That's Bill. He's with Goliath Sports Chair. So you've got a perfect person. He has a physical product. It's pre-selling. So he is awesome too. Hey, Kelly, good to have you. We're talking about packaging with impact. And Matt, I have to say, before I even let him introduce himself, I have seen the work that Matt does, and it is insane what he can create. We're going to show you a little video too, so you can see some of these, but I never knew that you could do the things that he can do with packaging, with graphic arts. You do video, you do obviously websites, you do other marketing as well, but your main staple is in packaging. And how did you even get started with packaging?
Oh my gosh, I've been doing packaging for over 20 years now. I just started out as a graphic designer at a small firm, and I kind of got into that, kind of fell into that 3D, loving the building, the sculpt, building the mock-ups, doing the whole thing. I fell in love with it, and I just kind of went that way.
It's an interesting, because it is hard. Like you guys think it's like a box, a brown bag, a box. You just throw your product in there. Well, it's far from that for it to actually work in a store environment, for them to actually want to buy your product, or to even allow your product to be on the showroom floor, right? So it's a lot about selling your business, and you make sell sheets and those types of things that show like a mock-up of, say, a floor display, right? So that's like promoting what it could be, even if you're not buying the packaging yet. We do that a lot for our partners too. But what would you, I've got so many questions. Honestly, guys, I think this would be like a multi-part series, because there's so much that comes into packaging. I'm going to show off what you do first. I think that's the best place for us to start, because it is so cool. So you guys bear with me while I get this up. And EdgingOut, can you say your website again, just so I can? It's
EdgingOutDesign.com.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to put that in the chat just so we can do that right away. And I'm going to share, and you're on LinkedIn too. You have quite a few videos over there. So this one that I have here is awesome. I'm going to make it full screen for y'all. There we go. Okay. So this is just beautiful. You won't be able to hear the music. I haven't figured out how to make that happen.
Well, it's actually really low right now, because I didn't want to scare you.
Right. Well, everything from packaging for toys to, obviously you have, oh gosh, you have so many.
We literally do everything from soft good to hard goods, whatever you need, from cans to boxes to blisters to whatever.
And we have quite a few IdeaPros partners who have amazing packaging. I'm so surprised, but there's just going into the design, even looking at these ones, the material, right? So you can have a different types of material. I'm sure you all have, and tell me in the chat if you've done this, but have you touched Apple products? Matt and I were just talking about this before you guys came in, and literally he keeps his, and so do I. And I am like amazed by them. I almost find things for them to put in them, because I love the packaging so much. But it's actually thought through as far as like how it's the easiest way for people to open Apple products, right? And the texture of it. So what kinds of things do you have to take into consideration when you're creating packaging for somebody?
Well, it really depends on the product, what the product type, who they're trying to sell it to, what their price point is, where they're selling it. Like if they're selling it on Amazon, where they're trying to get into retail stores, it all adds up, and that's how we go.
And if they're going to touch it too, right? You were saying that it's
Well,
like if
yeah,
you
there's
want
a
people to
try me
touch it.
features. You can have like if you want to have like move. Let's say I worked with Lego in the past, and we had to move the action figures around, and when you lift it, it had to be tied down. So you have to think about like before it's even made, like before the mold is made, you have to figure out that it's got to have little tied down hooks so it can be strapped to the packaging. All this comes into account.
That's great. Now, was that the first thing that you showed in the video? Was it a Lego?
Yeah, this
It was
is
one of the Lego
Lego
packages.
torch. It's a 4-inch tall torch.
So
And
that actually does move it. Does it move its head for real, or is that
no,
in
I
editing?
added
Okay, I'm
that.
like,
I'm not
what?
gonna
That's
lie, I
crazy.
did add that. But
Oh my
you
gosh,
can
it's
go in
so
there and
cool.
lift the arms and lift the legs, and you press his chest, and his feet light up.
Oh my
And
gosh,
that
that's a
was the
lot.
try me feature is the wow, and the fact that he's sitting in the chair and looking all cute like on his throne.
It
That was
is
all
so
part of that.
cute. I mean, and I know I went through some of these packaging for food products, and there's a lot. Like, you don't want to tear off the logo when you go across the top of this
Correct.
product. Like, so we had to do a specific design so that it doesn't, and that's a horrible shot for it
It's
to
just slow,
freeze on. But the tear product, right? So it's crazy to me how much has to go into it, even if it's the labeling. And you had mentioned that the Lego ones, they don't want to have languages because it's
Correct, because
worldwide.
if when you're a global company, you don't want to have thousands, even 10, 5, whatever transitions of change your battery to AAA or whatever. You want to keep it very simple. So we just figured out just using icons to break free so we can have a cleaner packaging.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there were like I said, so many things that I wanted to go over. But one thing would be really helpful is if there were any mistakes that people have made in the past that you're like, gosh, I think the world needs to know to think about this.
I don't know. There are so many little, I wouldn't call them mistakes. It's just,
Oh, they're
it's a
learning
learning experience.
opportunity.
Every
Yes.
time you do is a learning experience. What you really got to do is you got to go out and find out what your competitors are doing. And then you got to figure out like a style of what you're looking for. And then you will come together. And I always give variations like a good, better, best program. And the good one is your idea. And we try to make it work. I'm not saying your idea is the worst. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying we take your idea and better is like a combination of your idea, my idea, and then the good, better, bad. That is like off the charts.
Right. If you
But
had unlimited resources and you can make anything happen.
right, like not even that. Like we can always figure out a budget to make it work. But
That's interesting. And I know when people think about this, they're like, well, I don't want to make the cost of my product lower. I don't want to cut into my profits. And you have an interesting theory about
my
packaging.
yeah, my theory about is your packaging is just as important as your product. Okay, like it's like a man walking down the street with the suit on versus a man like in sweatpants and tore up jeans. You want to impress your customers. You want to grab them. So you want to make your packaging just as important, if not more important than your product. Your packaging protects your product from shipping. Your product is your advertising. Your product is everything. It's your brand, it's your class, it's what makes you stand out from everybody else.
I love that. And one of the things that you do recommend that people do is actually go touch and feel packages. Like go to the store and start touching, feeling, oh, that's a nice package. Let's take that. I mean, not that you have
Take
to
your phone,
buy.
shoot pictures of your favorite stuff, and use that.
Yeah, and I do think that there's something to be said about that. Like there's different thickness of the blister packs. There's different textures of the paper that goes on there.
Colors of blisters. You don't have to go clear. You can take your brand color and make that your part of your blister. Whatever you want to do, it's almost endless.
I love it. I love it. So much good information is in this gentleman's head because we went to do several products and you don't think about this, but okay, it's a giant product that's going to be in a uh, warehouse store, right? You have to figure out how you're going to get that sucker to stand up, and it's heavy and it has to ship, and how big does the box have to be? And it's just the questions that he asks are so good. So I think, like I said, we're going to have to make this into a regular show anyway. But is there anything, I know I wrote down, like, literally, guys, it's like pages of notes from just talking with him before. And I don't even think we've gotten all the way there, but is there any advice that you would have for people who are, maybe their product's not created yet, and they want to be prepared for that part? Any advice? He's like, I don't know. I know that he said a couple. So definitely you need to know your measurements for sure of the product. And you actually work with.
I'm sorry.
No, he's like, Tessa, you cut me off guard. What are you doing?
You did. I was thinking
killing me.
I was drifting.
Well, actually,
I'm sorry.
Matt, no, you're fine. Matt works with our engineer, Wes. Well, not only to design some products, you saw some of Wes's products because he has his own lines, but you work with Wes to make sure that before it's even done with engineering, that you guys are communicating on the design of the packaging, because it will affect that they what Wes does in engineering will affect Matt, and what Matt wants to do with this product will affect Wes in the end.
Like Wes's product is cross armory slide is I had to know the weight and what it can, if it's going to tip over and how it's going to hang, and there's a ton of questions that you have to know before you go.
Is that in that?
That is the final shot.
Okay. Let me just put that one on so you guys can see what he's talking about. So it's sitting. I have to move it so I can see. There. Now I can see. Okay. Yes. So this part right in here. Yep. There we go. We'll transition for that one.
Another complication, which I found out along the way working with Wes on this, is that he wanted to actually build it at home. I'm used to someone building it in the factory. Like, they make the product, they put it all together, they ship it in a crate and send it over to wherever, right? But he had the art sent to his house. He literally needed to fold it and seal it. So on the back, I don't know if you can see it clear enough, but I made a little thing, a little tab where he can take a stapler, and it takes one staple to lock it in place and hold it all together.
That's so cool. But so you have to take into consideration, like you said, if it is going to be a manufacturer, the packaging gets sent to the manufacturer and they assemble it. Is that normal? I don't know. Not in Wes's case, of course.
No, he does it himself. I mean, it all depends on, honestly, it depends on the quantity, where it's going, all that parts.
It's so fascinating to me. So much goes into it. And then, of course, if you are selling, if you get into a store, they might have a specific footprint that you have to match to, right? So you have a tiny little shelf here. That's where you're going to be. So you need to make sure that however many can fit in there, and that you're not taking up too much space with your product design. Is it standing up? Is it laying down? What is it?
Right.
There's so many things to think about. And I know we only have a couple more minutes, but if you guys have questions about packaging, let me know in the chat. And I want to go back to this, and that apps and like, if you're doing an Amazon packet, if you're doing Amazon specifically, even if you don't pay for the packaging, how you represent your product is super important. If we have this in a white box, you're not going to get as much for that, right? The price can go up.
You don't have to spend a lot of money to make something your own identity, your own brand. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to make an iPhone box or anything like that with inner trays where they all peel. You can go simpler and still be remembered. You Absolutely. Want them to always remember you and come back for more and more.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Matt. And you guys should definitely go check out Matt's website and connect with him. Even if you just have a conversation, let him kind of talk you through. I mean, if you can't you should work with him if you're doing packaging, but he's just got so much information in his head. He'll help you avoid a lot of mistakes. I know my dad has his own product that's going to be going to market soon, hopefully within the next year. And so I'll be going to Matt saying, hey, how are you going to help? We got to make this look awesome. So thank you for being on, and we'll have you on again, obviously.
Thank you so much, Tessa.
We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon, Matt. Thank you
very much, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And genetic, well, so Dr. Clarice, Brooke she had an emergency, but Matt he's a pinch hitter for me, but he did an amazing job today because he was in a master class, an actual workshop with us for social media the last 3 days. And I've learned so much from him and just what he does. And I love his products and product packaging. So he was willing to pop on in kind of a moment's notice. She'll be on as soon as we can get her scheduled, hopefully. Good to see you. Hey, Katie, good to have you back. Sage, yes, Sage Scheduler, big influencer over there on Instagram. And so I think I saw 94,000 followers. Congratulations, Sage. And he's still building. He's still going from there. In fact, we need to have you on. I know I said this last week, but Sage, Sean Reed, Sean and Kelly, you should both come on. I've met them in person actually, and they're awesome. But you should come on and just give us some tips on how you grow your audience right now, because it keeps going up. It's been going up for years now. I see him always making progress on that. Hi, Odin from Canada. Nice to have you. Martin, I'm so glad you're back. Martin and Kyle, yes, together. Trike Runt and Kelly and Bill. Bill, I don't know if you got your packaging done. I think I mentioned this in the beginning. If you haven't, that's GoliathSportsChair.com. He's doing pre-orders. So you guys should definitely go check it out so you can see what he's doing. It's a chair that you can actually raise up, which is great for different sporting activities where you want to be able to see over everybody else, for sure. And but he's got an amazing product. I'm so proud that it's launched and he's got it pre-order and everything. So happy Friday, and I'm going to let you guys go. Don't forget, I'm not sure exactly. We need your videos. So if you have videos and you want to send something, I know Kyle and Martin, you guys were willing to submit a video or submit some coverage for us, because I am going to be out of country for 2 weeks, for 2 Fridays. And so we need your help. If you're willing to help me out, then you can let me know on the chat if you have some ideas on ways that you guys could contribute, maybe a training video that you wouldn't mind us putting up on the Friday Live or something to that extent. If you've got ideas, let me know, because it's coming up so fast. Have a wonderful weekend. And I do want to honor our, the freedoms that we have and the people who fight for that and the people who die for our freedoms. I know those of you that are in Canada, and we have Memorial Day on Monday. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that's always doing so much for us and helps us to have those freedoms that we take for granted all the time. Social media training video that promotes your service. There you go. That's it. Awesome. Well, guys, I'm going to let you go. I look forward to seeing you next week, and have a wonderful long weekend. Bye, everyone.